So, ladies and gentlemen, here's this. We know that Ben-Hur, Charlton Heston, one of the most acclaimed movies of all time, even though some critics have looked back and said, well, it's kind of trite and it's kind of overbearing. Um, the lead villain in the movie, played by Stephen Boyd, Messala, is probably an example of the angry gay young man motif of the late 50s, early 60s, which was prevalent under the table in various productions. Now, it was written by Corey Dahl. Majority of the early scenes between Messala and Judah Ben-Hur imply either a gay relationship or, as the Stephen Boyd character says, unrequited love. Now, why is Messala one of the most important villains of biblical epics of the 1950s into the 60s? Well, Stephen Boyd's performance is just so over the top and so strong. I'm still surprised he never was a lead contender for Best Supporting Actor, even though the head of the horses that run against Messala, the actor, got Best Supporting that year. Now, in Ben-Hur, the 59 film, that's what we're talking about, not the book or the other productions. Messala's father was once a Roman governor of Judea. As a child and young man, he was friends with Judah Ben-Hur, a member of a prominent Jewish family that lived in the capital. Eventually, Messala went to Rome for a military career, while Ben-Hur remained in Jerusalem and became head of the house of Hur after his father's passing. Sounds like a hairdressing salon from Shediac. Approximately 26 years later, after the birth of Christ, Messala returned to Judea as part of a plan by the emperor to make Judea into a more disciplined and ordered province of the empire. Messala was delighted when his old friend came to see him and ordered a soldier to treat him with the respect due to a Jewish prince, telling the soldier that Judea was his country before it fell to the Romans. However, the good feelings were not to last. Messala and Hur had a falling out, where Messala said, okay, if you know the people that are against us, could you point them out? And, Ben-Hur saying, I'm not going to do that. Messala believed firmly in the power and glory of the empire, and Hur was equally dedicated to the Jewish faith and the freedom of his people. The two parted ways in anger. Later, during the arrival of the new Roman governor, Valerius Gratus, Ben-Hur's sister Tirza goes to watch the governor's entrance on the roof of the house. While up there, she dislodges some roof tiles. Very effective scene, actually, in the movie, which fall to the horse carrying Gratus. Startled, the horse throws Gratus, seriously injuring the man. Messala and Roman troops enter Hur's home and take the family prisoner. Messala goes up on the roof and discovers that it was indeed an accident, that a number of tiles were loose on the roof. Despite this knowledge, Messala decides to declare Hur and his family guilty of attacking the governor, stating that to condemn an old friend would help to raise his status and stature and make him feared. Hur is sent to the galleys, an almost certain death sentence, while Hur's mother and sister, Tisra, are imprisoned and they eventually become lepers. Hur manages to survive the next 3 years on the galley. In a critical battle, Hur saved the life of Roman consul Quintus Arrius, who adopts Ben-Hur as his own son. Arrius becomes convinced that the young man is innocent of trying to kill the governor. In gratitude, Arrius petitioned the governor and Senate to drop the charges, but the emperor and the Senate would not free Hur outright. What they do, however, is to give Hur to Arrius as his slave. Arrius then frees Hur and adopts him as his son. Despite his newfound wealth and status in the empire, Hur longs for home and with the blessing of Arrius departs for Judea. Now, arriving there, he goes to see Messala and demands the relief of his mother and sister. He tells Messala that if his mother and sister are restored to him, Hur will forego that vengeance he swore he would take against Messala with every stroke of the galley oar he was chained to. And, of course, the famous scene where Arrius says, hate is strong, it'll keep you alive. Like I said, very effective scenes, even though some critics criticize it as over the top. Now, Messala tries to stall him by saying that he needs the approval of Gratus to do so. Hur tells him to get that approved by the next day. Now, Messala's aide is sent to the prison to free the women, but it's found that the two women have contracted leprosy during their long stay. I think it's around 3.5, 4 years. They are freed, and the cell is burnt out. The two women return to her house one last time and tell Hur's friend Esther to tell her that his mother and sister are dead, not wanting her to see them in their current condition, and knowing that under Mosaic law he would have to reject them now. Esther makes up a story that she had seen the bodies of her sister and mother shortly after initial imprisonment, and Hur storms off in anger. Hur realizes that the only way to get even with Messala is to enter a chariot race with him. During the race, Messala races with a picked chariot, a chariot fitted with blades on the hubs. Messala is able to use these blades to destroy a couple of chariots and force the riders out of the race. When he tries to the same with Hur's chariot, the plan backfires, and it is Messala's chariot that is destroyed. He is thrown from it, dragged along the ground, and then trampled by another team of horses. Actually, the way it's cut, it looks like two different teams of horses. Now, Messala refused to allow doctors to operate upon him. They were going to cut off his legs until Ben-Hur comes to see him. Hur does come to see him in the final moments, and before he dies, Messala tells Hur that his mother and sister are alive in the Valley of the Lepers. After Messala's death, Hur comes to believe that Messala was once a good person who had been corrupted by Rome. As a result, he turns against the Roman Empire, asking his adopted father's friend, Pontius Pilate, to return the ring to his adopted father. Anyway, a very, very effective Stephen Boyd. There's a very interesting scene where Heston's sponsor of the chariot race, or the racers, the Arab, comes in and he sets up a bet with Messala, and Messala gives him 4-1 odds. He said 4-1 is the difference between a Roman and a Jew, and the way he's written, you have to hate him. But Stephen Boyd's a tremendous actor. The only thing I can compare it with, ladies and gentlemen, sort of like a Richard Burton, Richard Harris, Peter O'Toole style. In real life, he was a very, very good person, a very nice person. But to play someone so evil, you got to be consistent. And there's a reasoning behind his what he call his madness of thought. He wants to move ahead, but he doesn't believe that being true friends with Judah Ben-Hur is going to advance. If anything, is going to deny him what he thinks is his birthright. And you got to understand in I guess the Roman theology of some of these movies, that the Romans are deemed to be superior to any person they deal with, and you see the Roman Empire as a god, or the living god, similar to the Japanese what they call the hierarchy. Now, Stephen Boyd, again, I've always liked his acting. He did other biblical epics as well. But the idea is to outact Charlton Heston at being Charlton Heston. He kind of played it like the early scene where they're throwing arrows together and they're kind of giggling like, two young gentlemen in love. But I don't really believe that Charlton Heston, Gore Vidal said, we played it as gay because we're playing a trick on Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston doesn't play it as gay. Stephen Boyd does, because Stephen Boyd is a proud, gay, handsome, what they call, man in his 20s and 30s. He plays it really strongly. And there's no denying the fact that this character is one of the most important in biblical epics, because you need a villain. You can't, like Edward G. Robinson was so fucking over the top in Yul Brynner and the Ten Commandments, so let it be said, so let it be done. But Stephen Boyd is pure evil in this. And he should have got every recognition. If he would have had more scenes, he would have been up for lead actor, and I think he was robbed for Best Supporting Actor. That's my opinion. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my part review of Ben-Hur, which is what he called, there's a tradition in the Maritimes every Christmas. We go to midnight mass, we make Chinese food, and we watch Ben-Hur all the way through, even the slow final, 40 minutes or whatever, which seems to drag on and on. I think you wanted a 4-hour movie, and you should have stayed at 2:47 or something. But ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Boyd, my God, what a talent he was. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here with our movie tributes, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.